Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 25th of February. As usual, we are here to pay homage to the Buddha for his kindness and compassion towards all sentient beings, and also part of our daily practice. So we have one pen Menika from London, Manoboju from Kingswell, Andres Johnston, Karen Carling are here online. And we have Gavin here as usual, joining. And he's working hard this time, doing his homework after 30 years for the first time. 40 years. After 40 years, writing an essay and doing homeworks. So today, this morning, we'll be going to the Maki Academy in Stonehaven for this interfaith event, giving information and speaking with the children, secondary school students. So it will start at 11 o'clock. This will be my second visit to this academy. A long time ago, probably about 7 years ago, I attended this one-off event. And it was well received by people. So hope that this time again will be successful. Particularly this time, they have organized with the Aberdeen Interfaith Group, inviting many interfaith groups to speak with the children. And at 2 o'clock, I have an appointment with the nurse in West Hill to speak about my health conditions and giving a blood for further checkups. And this evening have a brief meeting with David regarding interior management and plannings. And tomorrow afternoon I'll be busy for 2 hours from 1:30, and then tomorrow evening we will have the meditation session with Bhante Bodhi. Bhikkhu Bhante Bodhi Dhamma would be 5th one. So we have halfway through studied with him. So tomorrow will be the 5th session with Bhante Bodhi Dhamma and the meditation. And this weekend, on the Saturday, we will have the one-day retreat for children, starting from 9 o'clock. And at 10, Jess Shannon will be coming to teach Metta Bhavana to children. So make sure that you arrive 9 o'clock. And always at 9 o'clock I will start, whether one person or two person. So I encourage you all to come earlier so that we'll get the more benefit. meantime, doesn't mean that adults can't come and join. You are also welcome to observe the 8 precepts and take a retreat, which continue until Sunday evening. So you can come to practice on a Sunday too. Sunday the 1st of March. So this will be this couple of days of a schedule, a bit tight, but be fruitful. And this Saturday, Ranga's father passed away, so this coming Saturday will be 7th day. He will be performing a short service, and also on a Sunday will be a short service for Shanika. Shanika, she's coming to offer the service and do the service for her mother's 1-year death anniversary. So that's why this week a bit tight schedules. In the meantime, Gavin is training well this time, and not all, but it's been a week. I haven't recited, rehearsal the chanting yet, but I studied the Dhamma, and Gavin is consistent with the study and practice, which is I'm very proud of you. It reminds me a story. After the Buddha attained the enlightenment, he visited to Varanasi to give a first discourse to the 5 ascetics. And all 5 attained the enlightenment. And following that, the Buddha again gave discourses to another 55 young men, along with the Yesa. After they heard the Dhamma, they also became an Arahat, the noble one. After there were 60 disciples, those who are fully enlightened, then the Buddha compassionately admonished as a plan and also as an aim of being a monk, saying that go forth, all monks, you have understood the Dhamma. Now go forth and spread this Dhamma for the good and welfare of humans and heavenly beings. And he further said that I myself will travel to spread this message. This must be the first missionaries in the human history that traveled to spread the teachings. 500 years before, the Jesus Christ born. Over 1,000 years of Muhammad born. So after that, all the monks traveled to different parts of the villages, towns, and the cities. So on the way, the Buddha went to teach the 1003 ascetics, those who worship the fire. And this place still exists, but this place is really a pilgrimage site for the Hinduism, about half an hour away from where Buddha enlightened. Nowadays it is known as a Vishnupada. Initially, these ascetics were worshipping fire over there, and the Buddha went to teach them. And after a couple of days of tests, finally they accepted the Buddha as someone who really knows about, and they all became monk. And the reason that the Buddha went to visit these 1003 ascetics, so basically 3 brothers with 500 disciples, 300 disciples and 200 disciples, so altogether 1,000. The reason the Buddha went to visit and teach these ascetics simply because without educating them, a Buddha would not be able to convince his own old friend, whom the Buddha gave a word that after his enlightenment he would come and teach him. The story was that after the Buddha left the palace at the age of 29, he went on living as a royal ascetic. When he went for begging of food, his complexion and his body structure was a royalty, but he was very calm and peaceful while he was begging food along the streets in the Rajagaha city. Having seen such a handsome, serene and a calm ascetics that Bimbisara never heard before, never seen before, thought that this must be a divine being here to practice its virtues. So he summoned his assistants to spy on him, saying that after the meal, if he disappears, then he is not a human. But if he eats food and doesn't disappear, then he must be a human, and come and inform to me. As the king Bimbisara ordered, this assistant went around and spying the Buddha while he was practicing his asceticism at that time. And it appears that the Buddha After baking food, he sat down under one of the trees and ate this food. And from the scripture, it suggests that that was his first meal that was baked meal, far different than the meal that he used to have in the palace. And the scripture suggests that when he ate that food for the first time, his belly felt sick and he was almost not able to eat. He almost vomited. The Buddha said that he almost vomited to see this food. But when he had that feeling of a sickness, he was mindful of that feeling of a sickness and told himself that even just this raw food, discarded food, you cannot eat, then how would you going to find the truth? So he forced himself to eat that mixture of so many varieties of food. Some could be the waste from yesterday, leftover from yesterday. So he ate that food. So while he was eating food, the messenger went back to the king Bimbisara and informed that he is a human, he's eating food under the tree. So then Bimbisara went to see him and had a courtesy conversation. And after knowing that he was a prince, then the king Bimbisara told him that you don't have to be an ascetic. Come and govern this country together. I will govern half, you will govern half. So that much faith and a confidence King Bimbisara had on the Buddha even before he became the Buddha. That much determination that the Buddha had at that time, having heard such determination, even the king Bimbisara was melted in his determination. But on offering Bimbisara's offer him to govern the half of the country, the Buddha to be said that I have no interest governing the countries. I am here in search of the truth. When he rejected that offering, King Bimbisara was so humbled. King Bimbisara was feeling so great. This human, this man is not a normal being. Then he asked for his permission and said that in that case, should you ever be enlightened, don't forget to come and teach me. And that was the promise that the Buddha kept. But the king Bimbisara had these 3 teachers with 1,000 disciples, three institutions of these 3 teachers, and along with the 1,000 disciples were his spiritual advisors. Having known that if the Buddha didn't go to teach these teachers first, then the Buddha would not be able to convince King Bimbisara. As a result of that, so the Buddha went to teach the three teachers and then his disciples. So after that, all 1003 three ascetics converted to Buddha and became monks. So they went to visit the king Bimbisara. And after visiting King Bimbisara, Bimbisara realized that the Buddha was really a great man, great being, and really understood the teachings. So then he also listened the Buddha's Dhamma and attained the first stage of a noblehood, the Sotapanna, the stream enterer. And he offered this a bamboo grove in his country, and this bamboo grove called Veluvana Vihara is still there in Rajagaha. When we visit the pilgrimage site, we normally visit there. And this is the place the Buddha stayed for some times and lived there, and Buddhist monks were flourishing there. Monastery received a huge support from the king and the people, and many became a monk. Now I'm telling this story is not because I'm just laying the background that this Rajagaha monastery, this Veluvana monastery in Rajagaha where the Buddha stayed, which was supported by the king Bimbisara. It happened that one of the businessmen called Sudatta came from Savatthi. He was a traveler and a businessman. When he was traveling to Rajagaha on one of the occasions while the Buddha was there, and somehow on that arrival date, people were talking about the Buddha and his teachings and visiting him. And on that night, people were visiting the Buddha to listen the talk. Having heard that, having seen that people going towards the monastery, Sudatta, businessman, was very puzzled, never seen before. So asked one of the people, those who are going to listen the talk, where are these people going? And he replied that we are going to listen the talk given by the Buddha. Just having heard the word Buddha, his mind was so calmed. He felt so uplifting. But because of the long travel, he was tired. And he thought that I will go tomorrow. And he had that thought of going tomorrow, and he went and rest. Now he later on told the story of his journey, that he woke up for 3 times in the middle of the night, simply the desire to go and see the Buddha and listen the Dhamma. He could not resist. Every time when he woke up, he thought that it was early morning. So the 3rd time when he woke up, he somehow felt very bright. And he thought that this is morning, so I better go before anybody goes to see the Buddha. So he traveled out from the dormitory and then went crossing the gate, the city gate. And he realized that as soon as he crossed the city gate, it was dark and he felt fear now. There was a fear of anything could happen. Then he wanted to return, but again he could not. His desire to see the Buddha was so great, and suddenly he felt again he could see the path, and he walked further. And again he realized that it's a dark, and again feel fear for 3 times like that. And eventually he managed to reach the monastery. So the place where the Anathapindika, this Sudatta was living is about, if you walk, and nowadays if you walk it takes about 20 minutes. It's like from West Hill to the temple. But it was dark. But somehow it was early morning, around just after 4. Buddha already woke up and doing the walking meditation. And having seen the Sudatta came to see the Buddha, then Buddha recognized him straight away and called his name, Sudatta, come here. Thank you for visiting. And suddenly Sudatta was surprised to hear the Buddha calling his name, despite it was his first time. Nevertheless, he was feeling comfortable and went to see the Buddha and listened the talk. And later, this Sudatta invited the Buddha to visit the Savatthi, and he built the temple called the Jetavana Monastery and offered to the Buddha, in which the Buddha spent over 20 years under the support of this Anathapindika millionaire. The reason I told this story, particularly this Anathapindika, later with the Sudatta known as Anathapindika later on, because of his kind and compassion towards all beings, that the moment when he heard the word Buddha and the Dhamma, he was longing to see the Buddha and listen to the Dhamma. He could not sleep in the middle of the nights because of that a desire or a wish to see the Buddha and learn the Dhamma. And similarly, I found that Gavin is very enthusiastic, energetic, and learning, even in the middle of this darkness and rain or snow, and you're coming and studying without missing. And that actually illustrates the strong willingness to study the Dhamma and the faith that you have to the Buddha and the Dhamma and the Sangha. And that's really inspiring, like the Sudatta or Anathapindika Sethi, who longed to see the Buddha all night. So I really rejoice in your good intention and your faith and confidence, and continue this journey. So I really admire. Right, I think this is the story of Anathapindika, the Buddha, and Gavin. Right, with this, let's do the chant.